Hey, all right. I'm going to call this, this little, I mean, we're doing a very impromptu show here because we got something unique, coming up. But I'm going to call this tool of the week, this little segment right here. Okay. I was earlier today, man. Well, like I said, okay, I mentioned earlier that, yeah, I had, this is going to be kind of special because I'm actually going to kind of review 3 movies. Okay. That I think are important. And I think that there's kind of a larger thing to talk about with all of those. So I mentioned, I saw Justice League. Okay. Saw the new Justice League movie. I saw the new Thor movie, Thor Ragnarok. And then I watched it chalks up to like 3 hours and 8 minutes. Okay. You can call it the 3-hour version or maybe even the 4-hour version. If you watched it on TV with commercials, it'd be the 4-hour version. That's how of Superman, the movie from 1978. Finish my sentence. I might call it the 4-hour version even though the Blu-ray itself that I have, because it's one of the greatest movies ever made. It says the 3-hour extended edition on it. But kind of like Dune, like there was the original, what is it? The 84 Dune. Okay. That David Lynch did. There's what's called the Alan Smithy version, or what I called it the 4-hour version before I really understood, this is when I was a teenager watching the Sci-Fi Channel, before I really understood what Alan Smithy was, that's just like, that's a name that gets used if a director doesn't want to be attached to a cut of a film. And in this case, that being David Lynch, I would call it the 4-hour version of Dune. Now, really, it barely chalks up to 3, but on the Sci-Fi Channel, with commercials and everything, when you'd watch that in the 90s, back when the Sci-Fi Channel was actually worth watching and was cool, it was 4 hours. So you called it the 4-hour version, so there's a part of me that just wants to call Superman, the extended edition of Superman, the movie, the 78 Superman, the 4-hour version, but whatever. That's not really what we're necessarily here to talk about. Anyway, I wanted to watch this movie though. Okay. I wanted to catch this Blu-ray, and I had recently gotten a new Blu-ray drive. I think it's a BD05S, a Pioneer BD05S. And it was important. This Blu-ray, the Blu-ray drive is great. Okay. The drive itself is phenomenal. In fact, it's not just a player. It's not just a Blu-ray player. It's also a burner. And it can burn M discs. In fact, the one that I got ended up coming with an M disc that I will be using to store, cause it can handle BDXL as well, which, gets into the hundreds of gigs, that's like a 4K player almost. Which, let's be clear here, this is a very confusing aspect. Well, let's try and be clear here. This is a very confusing aspect of the Blu-ray industry format, I guess, right now. So this Pioneer, what is it? What did I say? It was BD05S. Okay, this Pioneer drive claims it can do Blu-ray XL. Now, Blu-ray XL, a normal Blu-ray, you have a single layer Blu-ray, you have a double layer Blu-ray. So a normal Blu-ray can do 25 gigs, a dual layer can do 50. When you get into BDXL, Blu-ray discs XL, I think that's what they call them. Or I think BDXL is kind of the shortened version. You get into the hundreds of gigs, and this is how you get 4K content. This is how you put 4K content onto a disc, because it just takes up that much fucking space, right? As compared to normal DVDs or 1080p. So, it is incredibly confusing. And believe me, I looked, it's very confusing to find like a great, simple answer as to what Blu-ray drives for computers, particularly. Okay. Looking for a 4K Blu-ray player, that's just a standalone player that connects to a TV. It's easy enough to find the answer as to which one actually does, which one does 4K. But with drives, it's very tough to get a clear answer, because I don't think that there's any guarantee, and I'll have to test this out at some point, but I don't think there's any guarantee that because it says it handles Blu-ray XL, that means it's a 4K player. In fact, there's a really confusing thing, like on Amazon, I think there's a Samsung model that says it's 4K. What it actually is, it's a 4K upscaler, but it doesn't play 4K Blu-rays. I mean, it's an incredibly confusing situation. To say nothing of the fact that really we've entered, I mean, there's no real competitor anymore not the competitors within the kind of the physical media format has always been like a thing. I mean, DVD, ran roughshod, right? VHS, I mean, yeah, there was Betamax for a while, right? And there's been some others. I know Laserdisc, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you could say that Laserdisc or DVD was taking on Laserdisc, but not really. I mean, that was only the, kind of the connoisseurs of film were really saying, oh no, Laserdisc is still better than DVDs and all that. I mean, that's a whole long fucking history. And I'm talking about things I had no intention of talking about, but whatever I'm talking about, and we're going to run, we'll do it live. Woo! Okay. So, I mean, yeah, when after DVD, you had HD DVD, right? Which I guess might be the most comparable thing to how Blu-ray now has Blu-ray XL. But you had at the time, really, it was HD DVD versus Blu-ray. And there was some debate as to, which one was going to win. And look, I know there's been other like really niche formats. Like there was that like HD VHS. I'm not kidding. There was like this really, really, in fact, it was technically better picture quality than a Blu-ray, but it was on tape. I'm not fucking kidding. And I think the only movie I ever saw that they played on it was Blade Runner. And of course that's a great demo film to put on, but it was stunning. It was gorgeous. Okay. I know there's been a bunch of niche ones, but we're just talking about the popular conventional mindset. Okay. HD DVD versus Blu-ray. I mean, right now Blu-ray is owning it because most people I don't think they think there's any real money in going with a physical format. Now, I could spend a whole ton of time talking about what I think is going to end up happening with physical formats. There's a part, not to get into the whole net neutrality thing or whatever, but there's a part of me that thinks if 4K really matters to people, and look, I actually don't think it does. I really don't think it does. Okay. I think it's very much like MP3s versus like lossless, codecs and everything. And look, I know there's people that love FLAC and they love their lossless codecs and all that. I know you're out there, and I mean, no disrespect to you. I am not saying you're not important. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, at least in my own mind, and I know it's not just me, most people, because you can find plenty of evidence about this, plenty of research on the matter. Most people really don't give a shit about audio quality. Like, it can be good enough. There's a reason MP3s conquered, and it's not just because of what people were force-fed. Okay, if people don't like something, you can force-feed it all they want. If they don't like it, they're not going to accept it. All right, and you could have people try their Pono players and all this other horse shit. Look, it just doesn't matter. They'll trade sound quality for convenience, availability, and, a whole slew of other things, including how much does it eat their data plan, right? I mean, because, of course, HEAAC plus is better than MP3. No fucking shit. No one's going to argue with you about that. But better doesn't always like chalk up to what just has the objective greatest sound quality or best compression. Better comes down to, has a million different factors to it. Okay. So anyway, where the hell was I talking about this? Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay. I don't think most people care about 4K. Like, I really don't. And in fact, I'll tell you something, when they're really not going to care about it is and look, this actually has nothing to do with net neutrality because it was happening anyway, beforehand and after, Tom Wheeler laid down his little, pissant hammer. Okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. Comcast was charging, if you went over, what is it, like 300 gig or something on your monthly plan, they were going to charge you, they charge you like $10 every gigabit or something, every gigabyte after that, not gigabit, every gigabyte after that. And it's something like that. All right. You start streaming a whole shit ton of 4K content. What, you think you're not going to use up that 300 gig in a heartbeat? Fuck yes, you are. This is one of the big things. I mean, it's so funny. Like net neutrality. I don't want to get lost in the weeds on it. Okay. I said this last time net neutrality was a thing before, Ajit Pai was pulling his bullshit today. Okay. And if you listen to last week's episode, I'm not on either side of the debate. Okay. I'm standing above with the actual fucking solution that strikes the root. The problem is the goddamn infrastructure itself. The internet sucks ass. Okay. All right. We got that. So last time we talked about it, I was like, look, you're missing the actual problems. You're missing the actual argument. Like I just said, the problem's the infrastructure, right? Okay. the real concern is how these, and whether it's Title II or not, because again, like I said, when Tom Wheeler put it through as Title II, they did nothing about the last mile to increase competition, and which is supposed to be a part of Title II, and also they didn't get involved in price controls. Okay, so that's why Comcast is still able to charge you for all the extra gigabytes once you get above a certain level, right? Okay, yeah, fine, they can't charge you on the speed, but they're going to charge you on how much you use. My overall point being, Comcast is going to make a killing if you give a shit about 4K and streaming. Unless, because you see what I'm saying? Like 4K video, again, we were just talking about Blu-rays. You need Blu-ray XL to be able to handle 4K video and all that. These discs are already in the hundreds of gigs. You're gonna be paying out of your ass just to watch a 4K video, and they know it. So unless, that's the real scam is like, oh, let's get everybody hooked. Let's get everybody a 4K TV. Let's get everybody hooked on 4K content. And then let's charge them per gigabyte. Title II isn't going to solve that. It didn't solve it when Tom Wheeler put it through. Do you understand? Unless you decide to say, well, I'll just start buying Blu-rays again. Because a Blu-ray doesn't take up any fucking data, right? It's a physical disc that you pop in. You don't have to download anything new. Well, we're going to talk about having to download new shit with it, but raw to watch a movie, you don't have to download anything to improve the movie necessarily experience. But we'll talk about firmware updates and software updates in a second. So I don't think, and this kind of speaks to maybe some of what we were talking about earlier in this show, I don't think that actually physical media is going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to disappear. I've had my moments where I thought it was going to disappear, but right now, I don't think so. In fact, I've brought this point up many times over the recent years, past couple years, is that who is the number one purchaser of Blu-rays? Not consumers, businesses. In fact, who's the number one business that buys Blu-rays? Facebook. What does Facebook do with Blu-rays? Are they just watching a shit ton of movies? No, they use it to store all of your data instead of keeping it on servers. Gee, how's that request going to work out when you need that data, deleted? Especially, what if they're using M-disks? Which, if you don't know about M-disks, I'll explain what those are in a second, okay? Because the Blu-ray player that I got can burn M-disks, Blu-ray M-disks as well, which is great. So, Blu-ray's not going anywhere. Blu-ray XL is, sure, it's to push 4K, but I also think that it probably has a lot more practical reasonings and concerns for existing, that including for reasons like Facebook. The reason why they buy so many goddamn Blu-rays, because they want permanent storage and off-server storage that's reliable of your data. Oh yeah, like that shit's going to get deleted. Uh-huh. How do you even request that? So yeah, my point, either people are just not going to give a shit about 4K because it's going to hit them in the wallet, or they're going to start buying physical media again. I'm totally open to it being the latter, that people will just start buying physical media again. Certainly like I mentioned, the connoisseurs, the people that are like, oh, I need to taste the brain matter, in that action movie when I watch it, those kind of people will certainly, they're the ones that are still buying Blu-rays and all that. And certainly they have a lot of money and they will buy up, a lot of these discs and everything. No doubt about that. Okay. But it might become a lot more than niche. Physical media might make a very serious comeback, and it's because of, what are frankly greedy fucking ISPs. Yes, they fucking are greedy. Look at their profit margins and you tell me they're not greedy. No, don't look, we don't have to talk about net neutrality. Has nothing to do with net neutrality. They're greedy fucking bastards, straight up. And they have a centralized infrastructure that allows them to do that and to get away with it. Okay. Anyway, talking about my Blu-ray player. It's amazing. The conversation you can have around a Blu-ray, a simple Blu-ray disc drive, USB external disc drive for a computer. Okay. So this Pioneer Blu-ray disc drive, right? Again, it's fine. It's great. It's a little top loader, beautiful, does a hell of a job. I actually like the fact that it's top loading and it's not a slider. Those sliders, I don't trust that shit. Shit gets stuck. It can do, Blu-ray XL. It can do normal Blu-rays. It can do DVDs, obviously. It can burn DVDs. It can burn Blu-rays. And it can burn M-Disc DVDs and M-Disc Blu-rays. Now, if you don't know what M-Disc is is an optical media, okay, like Blu-ray or DVD, and it comes in both flavors. Not that it has an increased size limit. Like, every DVD, tops out, if it's a single layer, it tops out at 4.7 gig or whatever, 5 gig pretty much, or like 4 gig pretty much. And then the other one's like, dual layers, 9, whatever. And then with Blu-rays, obviously 25 gig and 50 gig. Okay. But what it is, it's almost literally made out of stone. Doesn't feel like it, but that's its actual composition. And these are discs that you can burn, and they can play in normal players. You need a special M-Disc burner to be able to make M-Disc DVDs and M-Disc Blu-rays. But to play them, to access them, you can use any Blu-ray drive or any DVD drive for their respective formats, okay? Which is really cool. But what these discs can do is they can last for at least 1,000 years. That's the claim. Obviously, they haven't been able to test that, right? At least not that we know of. Okay, but they can theoretically last for 1,000 years because they're almost literally made out of stone. So this is a really cool feature. I do a lot of backing up of my stuff using M-Disc, either DVD or now Blu-ray or whatever. It's a nice feature. It's something that it's out there. It exists. You can take advantage of it. And if it costs an extra $10-20 for a drive to have it, why the fuck not? Right? That's a nice little feature to have to be able to burn that. That's cool. I can't ever see, having a Blu-ray burner for any other reason doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, because Blu-ray discs cost, like, per burnable disc, pretty much cost as much as, a Blu-ray movie. Right? I don't know, the average, what I see on Amazon, look, I don't have a ton of Blu-rays. I only have the movies that matter, Forbidden Planet, Blade Runner, Soldier, obviously Superman, the movie, like I mentioned, The Matrix, the entire Matrix trilogy, because, all three of them are great. I'm not kidding about that either. But anyway, yeah, so, I don't have a ton of Blu-rays, but when I look at Blu-rays, on Amazon, or when they come up in my searches or whatever, it seems like, the average Blu-ray movie sells for anywhere between $8 to $15. And that's what a burnable Blu-ray would pretty much, would just about cost you, or, something around there, I think. So I can't really see, like, DVDs and DVD burning became a thing. Look, I used to have, me and a great buddy of mine, we had quite the operation going. Not that we were selling anything. It was for our own personal libraries. Okay. I mean that, but like, we say, when Netflix wasn't a streaming service at all, actually, eventually became one while we were doing this, but, when it wasn't even a streaming service at all, and it was just, renting DVDs, we would be the 5 DVD at a time plan, and we'd have them burned inside of a day. We'd just be constantly making copies of films. We had this whole crazy operation going. It was amazing. Because, shit, it was so cheap. Compared to what DVDs cost at the time, which is a significantly different, margin or price margin, okay, between, with the burnable media, and especially, like, if Best Buy would always have like a 50 pack of DVDs on sale for like $10 or something. You got 50 movies for $10. I don't think that happens with Blu-rays. I just don't. And it wasn't a time, DVD was still the hotness. And so DVDs themselves would still sell easily for $30-40. That wasn't an outrageous price at all. Especially if it was a really great film, or, a rare film, which, why bother with much else? But anyway, so in that sense, it made sense to do that. So I'm not really interested, other than M-Disc, I have no interest in burning Blu-rays. It's just not a part of the program. Okay. So, yeah, not the reason that I got that drive is to burn Blu-rays. Even with M-Disc, it's expensive to do it with Blu-rays. This happened to come with one, so I'll use it, but otherwise I just use M-Disc DVDs. So anyway, I want to use the whole point in bringing this up. Okay. I actually have a pick. I have a tool of the week. I have a piece of software I want to share with you because of an experience that I went through with this drive. I am trying to watch earlier today, I'm trying to watch Superman the movie, the extended edition, 3 to 4 hours, whatever you want to chalk it up as. Now, the Pioneer DVD player, one of the things that I looked for, or Blu-ray player, one of the things I also looked for is, okay, does it happen to come with like movie player software? Because I know how crazy the whole piracy, talking earlier, we were talking about burning DVDs and everything. I know how crazy with Blu-rays that a lot of the anti-piracy attempts, software, codecs, etc., have gotten. I'm fully aware of how that goes. Like, it's almost to the point where, well, okay, it would be cost effective to try and crack, the constant updating of Blu-ray anti-piracy, attempts, software, I don't know, firmware. I mean, it's the technical term would be libraries. Okay. Cause that's what they add in or like the scheme, that they put in. I guess measures is a fine term. The anti-piracy measures that they keep coming up with new ones. They keep updating them. Okay. With DVDs, this was the thing. It was a, constant arms race as well. And your ultimate weapon for the pirate was software called AnyDVD. Now, AnyDVD still exists. It's by a different company called Red Fox now, as compared to the company it was before. And also now it solely exists as a subscription service. So you have to pay a fee, and I forget if it's like monthly or yearly or whatever. And look, this is fine. I mean, if people are into this shit, they're into it, and some of you are doing, the Dark Lord's work, and thank you for that. Okay. In making this stuff available and using that kind of software, maybe to get it up on torrent sites and everything, whatever it takes. And I'll talk more about how I think that's that's some very important work going on. But anyway, now you have to, you kind of have to pay crazy money. You might as well, like, it's just about to the point, just at the point of parody where, yeah, I might, it's P-A-R-I-T-Y, not parody, isn't P-A-R-O-D-Y, like a porn or something. Okay. It's at the point of parody where, yeah, you might as well buy the Blu-ray disc, right? Like, let's make it official. Let's do it right. That's fine. And it's about to the point to where, yeah, you know what? Fine. Cyberlink, their software is like the two main pieces of software for playing DVDs and Blu-rays and whatever else on computers for over a decade has been either WinDVD or Power DVD from Cyberlink specifically. So anyway, a nice thing that you can do is that when you get a new optical drive of some kind, you can see, oh, hey, does it come with, some kind of software, some kind of player software or burner software, for like Mac users, like we were talking about earlier. A popular thing to do is, oh, does it come with Roxio Toast? Because that's a very handy piece of software. Okay. Even though a lot of OSs are would start to build in their own stuff, but then at the same time, OSs are scaling back in what they make available because they think everything's going into streaming. And so, they don't give a shit about and they'll let other companies kind of charge the premium to be able to handle physical media, or something like this. So fine. This player, I check it out. It comes with Power DVD. Okay, great. I can install that on the computer, and then I can play this Blu-ray fine because it's a very new Blu-ray. Specifically, the Superman one that I got, like, just came out beginning of November, I think, or maybe it was beginning of October. Whatever. It's brand spanking new. I pre-ordered it. Okay, because I knew it was coming. I do that sometimes. Like in February of 2018, there's a 2-disc special edition of Black Eagle. If you've never seen Black Eagle, holy shit. This is one of Van Damme's first films. He's the villain. The hero is played by Sho Kosugi, which anybody that's into like ninja movies and all that, especially from Southeast Asia, everybody knows Sho Kosugi. This is a legend. The movie is fucking awesome, and the 2-disc Blu-ray that they have coming out actually has the 104-minute or like the extended cut of Black Eagle. One of my favorite movies. I watched that before I saw Bloodsport, before I saw Lionheart and all the great Van Damme films, and he has many genuinely great films. I think he's fantastic. But Black Eagle, so cool. He's this Russian agent and everything. Awesome shit. So I pre-ordered Blu-rays, when it's something that really fucking matters, when it's one of those like game-changing films. And actually, personally, I think Black Eagle is, just a lot of people somehow don't realize it, just how important a film that was. So my thinking is, it's like, okay, I get official software with this Blu-ray drive. Awesome. I can, I won't have to deal with the headache of cracking and of downloading new libraries for VLC, because VLC player, which is my favorite media player, has been for over a decade. It can do Blu-rays. The thing is that the libraries that it uses, the software libraries that it uses, have to be updated kind of regularly. So it can be a bit of a headache. And sometimes those libraries don't update as quickly as, say, the new anti-piracy measures or whatever else. I mean, they can claim. So, okay, what this is going to be about is what's called AACS, Advanced Access Content System. And what it is, it's a standard for, handling DRM, for handling digital rights management, okay, particularly with Blu-rays. I mean, and it works for other things too. But let's be clear here. This is completely about DRM, and trying to stop piracy. They can claim it's for other bullshit, but they're full of shit when they say that. Okay. So anyway, I don't want to deal with having to constantly crack that. Whatever, fine. They kind of win, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll go with the official software. So, all right, so my disk drive comes with my Pioneer Blu-ray disk drive, optical drive, whatever. Comes with Power DVD 12. Now that's a couple generations back. I think right now they're up to either Power DVD 16 or 17 or something. Okay, fine. But they keep updating it, and I would assume that Pioneer would not include software that can't also read BDXL, Blu-ray discs XL, which is kind of the latest standard that allows for all kinds of shit. So, all right. So I figure I'm safe. This is fairly future-proof, even though I can't find a Blu-ray disc drive that is natively USB-C. I mean, yeah, I could switch out the cord, I suppose, but anyway, and I have adapters that I can put on. That's fine, but you get my point. So, all right, so I do this. And so I go to, all right, I install it. I put it on my Windows machine. I install Power DVD 12. Here we go. I agree. Here's your bullshit. Fine. Yeah. Okay. You're spying on me. Gotcha. Okay. Yep. Fine. And then I put in the movie. Here we go. I'm ready to go. It's a beautiful Saturday. Let's do this. All right. I'm going to watch this. Then I'll go catch Thor Ragnarok, and I'm going to be able to do this great review on Sovryn Tech where I'm comparing these three comic book films. Okay. And what ends up happening is suddenly I end up in this loop about where Power DVD 12 wants to update the latest AACS. Okay, fine. My software is official. Everything on this Windows machine that I'm using, everything is completely official. There's zero cracked software whatsoever on it. There's none. All right, I made sure of that. I wanted this thing to, this is pristine, no bullshit. And it just keeps going in a loop. It says, okay, do you want to update now? Yes, click OK, goes in a loop. Do it again, click OK, no, goes in a loop. And every time I try to play the fucking movie, it won't go. All right, fine. Eventually I'm messing with that for like 20, 30 minutes, looking up, on search engines. Okay, how the hell do I solve this? Nobody has a good answer for it. And Cyberlink just keeps telling me, oh, well, upgrade to Power DVD 16 and, then you'll get access to this. And it's like $60 or something. And it's like, no, motherfucker. I bought a drive that came with this. This is official software. This shouldn't be a problem. And also, this drive is meant to handle some of the latest, standards. So fine. And one of the things that I have to do is I have to update the firmware. Or one of the recommendations to solve this loop that keeps happening with the AACS is to update the firmware on the disk drive or on the optical drive. Fine. It's hilarious because the firmware is dated 2014 on this drive. And the latest firmware update is from September 9th, 2017. Okay, fine, whatever. I do that. Still doesn't solve it. Okay. So, all right, let's see. I know, VLC player can play Blu-rays. Let's see what kind of horseshit I have to go through, to make that work. And I go through the horseshit. I do, there's a couple of files that you have to like, there's a config file and some library files, whatever, that you have to download to make that work. And I go to play it. Doesn't work. Why? Because the crack, as it were, for VLC to be able to play Blu-rays is a year behind. Like literally it's from 2016. And we're almost in 2018. Okay, fine, whatever, fuck you. That's okay. I still love you, VLC, but whatever, I don't give a shit. I get this close to where I'm taking that hard-earned Patreon money and say, for Sovryn Tech and saying, all right, I'll buy the new version of Power DVD just because this is driving me nuts. I don't have the time. I just don't have the time to deal with this. But then I say, yeah, all right, hold on. What are the alternatives? Because I haven't really looked into like media playing software outside of VLC in a little while, And so I was like, all right, let's see what else is out there. So I do a search, checking stuff out, and I come upon what's called, I find like this top 10 list. And 2 of the pieces of software in the top 10 list say they're completely free. One of them I look up, it's like DA Player or something, and there hadn't been an update in a while. And so I'm like, I don't have any confidence in this. And in fact, there couldn't even really find a fully official, official website for it, which you don't just want to go downloading software, especially something with codecs, because codecs can get pretty deep. All right, in your OS. So because it can end up, working across apps. So I didn't want to do that. So the other piece of software I find is called LeWo, Leawo, LeWo. I'll call it LeWo or LeWo, maybe LeWo. How about that? LeWo Player. Link is in the show notes for episode 254, folks, if you want to give this thing a shot. And obviously it's software out of China because China doesn't give a shit about IP or DRM, it seems, for that matter. And good for you. I like that attitude, baby. Woo! I install it. Download it, it's like 100 some odd meg, whatever. Okay, fine. It takes a minute or two. And then I install it. That gets done in a minute or two, so all together we're talking, and then in 1 minute, I double click and I press, and it automatically detects, my E drive, which is the Pioneer Blu-ray drive. It sees that Superman, the extended edition, is in there, and I press play. All together in 5 minutes with this solution, I'm finally fucking watching Superman. After an hour of pure bullshit, dealing with nothing other than DRM that I shouldn't have to deal with because here, look, I paid the price. I laid down all the fees. I did all the latest firmware. I updated everything. I've got all the latest updates on Windows 10. The Windows 10 copy I've got. Oh, it's all official. Everything's by the book. And I still couldn't watch my fucking movie. I was so fucking livid. Because every time I hear somebody say, well, but don't you think that the movie studios need to make money? Shouldn't you be paying for those films? Isn't it, don't you think downloading movies is kind of bad or wrong? If you really love it, won't you pay for it? Yeah, I did pay for it. I paid for a movie that I've bought so many times in so many formats because the movie's from 1978 and I couldn't watch it. I did everything official and I couldn't fucking watch it. And I'm just going, holy what is going on? This is, folks, okay, now the Golden Stallion's an anarchist. Okay, now I don't like to put any prefixes or suffixes on that if I can help it. All right, but I'll tell you, a lot of, I have in my listenership also is a very wide range of anarchism. I've got anarcho-communists, syndicalists, capitalists, whatever. When I hear some of my audience complain about capitalism and all that, this is exactly what they're talking about. Because let me tell you what this racket was. This AACS thing, I think this was all a fucking racket to have me, look, I technically bought Power DVD 12. They wanted me to upgrade. And this is it. If they keep pushing, they say it's to stop. They say, this is what's so funny is that, the movie industry, whoever, the hardware manufacturers, whatever, they say AACS is all about, we got to stop piracy that way that the movie studios can get paid and all that. Fucking horseshit. This is rent seeking. It's eternal goddamn rent seeking that everybody who has a critique about capitalism says is what happens, and it fucking happened. Yes, it did. At this minute level. You would think that such a niche industry, which is supposedly a niche industry because everybody's fucking streaming shit. Nobody's into physical media anymore. A bunch of minimalists, blah, blah, blah. Wah! You would think that they'd be just happy to just get a little bit of money that they can out of this niche, non-streaming analog industry. Well, it's not analog. This is as digital as it gets, but you get my point. I'm not critiquing. I get it. Capitalism just means free market. Well, supposedly for some people, but understand where some of these critiques come from. Because this is so goddamned dumb that I had to go through that. Doesn't matter if you play it all by the book. They're still going to try. They're going to try and squeeze every last little inch out of you. And thank you, people of China, for making a free piece of software, not giving a goddamn shit about the law, and allowing me to download that piece of software. And look, if the Chinese government puts some kind of spyware on my Windows machine, I don't fucking care. Better them than the goddamn NSA. How much more money do I have to put down to watch a movie from 1978, you sons of bitches? It's ridiculous. Oh, well, do you understand that since, like, in the past 2 days, like, I've gone to the theaters twice. Yeah, I used MoviePass, but, you know, the theaters don't care. Believe me, I know. Like, the guy asked me today when I went to go see Thor, he's like, how do you like this MoviePass thing? This is pretty cool. And then he told me, he says, actually, there's an even better deal. Look, the movie theaters don't care because people are coming in and they're getting paid anyway. They don't give a shit. They love MoviePass. Okay, but that's the thing, is like, look, yeah, I'm going to the movies. Hell, even if I didn't have MoviePass this weekend, I would have gone to see Justice League and Thor. I would have paid full price. I don't give a shit. I'll see it. I'll pay money when I want to fucking see something. Do you understand? How much more do you want from me? Especially me. Do you understand? Do you realize? Do you hear the amount of history that I'm laying out on you? Is because I've had this torrid love affair with the entertainment industry my whole life. I've given you everything. And you still want more. I'm being kind of funny, folks, in my anger. Please don't think that I consider this to be like the most important subject on planet Earth. I get it. There's starving people in Ethiopia. I know. Okay? But this is still bullshit. The abstract concepts, the analogies that could be pulled from it, all of them are fucking terrible, though. You gotta admit it. It's so bad. So I'm telling you, in my opinion, if there were such a thing as morality, the moral thing to do would be to torrent and pirate every goddamn thing, because these people are out of control. They are out of control. And if you're that passionate to where you're willing to go through all the work and whatever the hell it fucking takes, okay, to either do the pirate thing or whatever, I mean, look, then you've got that passion. You're the best marketing in the world. When you're excited about the new Thor movie, when you're excited about a new Superman Blu-ray or a new version of Superman coming out, when you're excited about Justice League or whatever else like that, like, you should be the fucking movie theaters, the movie industry, the entertainment industry overall, comic books, music, whatever. They should see you as the loss leaders because you're the marketing. You're the real marketing. You're the ones that are like, oh my God. I mean, do you know how many people I've convinced to become huge Star Wars fans? I did that. I know it. Do you know how many people I've convinced? And I've said this so many times because sometimes when you listen to the show, you'll hear an ad for Babylon 5. I said, one day, Straczynski, the creator of Babylon 5, he's going to have to cut me a fucking paycheck because I know how many hundreds, if not thousands now, of people that I've gotten to watch that goddamn show. You can't get marketing better than a passionate fan about what you got. And baby, you should be paying them. They shouldn't have to buy your shit. But they would anyway, but then you make it fucking impossible for them. Fucking greed. It's like the goddamn, in the 90s. Look, I really want to get into reviewing these films, okay? In the 90s, you had, what was the company? Like Fleer? You had a bunch of these trading card companies. I was really into trading cards. Not so much necessarily like baseball cards, even though I did like baseball, plenty fine. Still kind of a fan. I mean, I still suffer from Mets fanitis. It flares up every once in a while. Okay. I'm from New York. What do you want? So not so much baseball cards, but they had like the Marvel Series 3 cards. I've talked about some of this stuff either on Sovryn Tech Prime or on a Patreon episode. You had all these different, really cool, like DC Comics had cards and they were awesome because you could read them and they were like mini history lessons. Each one of these cards, they were so great. And it started getting to the point to you try to get complete sets and everything. And that was supposedly the point is, collect them all. And it got to the point, especially once it got past the mid 90s, when it got into the later 90s, it got to the point where Flair was like, oh yeah, there's 20 hologram cards, you're not even guaranteed one hologram card if you buy a box, because you can either buy a pack or you could buy an entire box. And sometimes real serious collectors would buy an entire box, because then what used to be the order of the day back in the 80s especially, and look, I know I was there, okay, in the 80s, when you bought a box, you were effectively buying a complete set, if you could afford that. But then it got to the point where you had to buy like 5-6 boxes to even dream of trying to get a complete set. It was mass madness. It's crazy. And that's just pure fucking greed. What kid can look, and I came from a family that was pretty well off, all right? But what kid really can buy 6, 7, 8 boxes, not packs, boxes of cards to get a complete set? It's an insult. Don't tell me that that's the fucking market. Bull, shut up. They're kids. Man. I say this all the time. I get it. I know the Ayn Rand quote. I know Ayn Rand very, very well. Okay. I know the quote. Profit's not a dirty word. My response has been for years on this show, and it's my response. Very simply, value isn't a dirty word either, and we've long lost value. Yeah, greed, whatever. Yeah, no, I get it. Greed. Oh, greed is good. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck. I don't care. But there is a point where it is just, it's crazy. It's too much. It gets to the point where it insults the human condition, quite frankly. And it insults the fans, and it pisses on the fans, the people that love you. And if you had any goddamn empathy, you wouldn't do it. Provide value for people and they will love you forever. They will follow you to hell. They will go through all those years of where they get nothing and blah, blah, blah. And then when you're ready to come back, they will be there with open arms. Just don't piss on them. Don't treat them like shit. And the entertainment industry is just treating people like shit en masse. Even when they try to go do it by the book and by the numbers and play it the right way, they play it straight. You still fuck them. Fuck you.